It's a time for more packages from China. Let's go. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in today's video, it's time for another game box or game console from China. But what I'm actually going to get is always the question. We have all kinds of boxes, all kinds of different brands, and it is going to be a gamble. Some of them are pretty damn good, some are plug and play, and some can be adjusted. So first of all, this is the Hyperbase A1. Inside the package, we're going to get ourselves the HDMI, a power supply with a switch so we can turn it on and off. That is very convenient. We're going to get ourselves the Android box. So I just want to be clear about one thing, is that you can just grab yourself, for example, a B-Link GT King, a very powerful box, slap some EmuELEC that you can download for free and configure and make it yourself. So at the back, we're going to get ourselves an AV out port, optical out, RJ45 Ethernet, then of course the HDMI and the input for the 5V power supply. At the side, we're going to get ourselves two USB ports, 2.0, 3.0, and then here we're going to get ourselves the SD card. The model number of this Android box is the A95X F3 Air. Comes with an EmuLogic quad-core A55, 4GB RAM and 32GB of internal storage that we're not going to use, because that's absolutely unnecessary and only for Android. When it comes to the controllers, there we're going to get the biggest gamble. What do we mean? First of all, there are quite a lot of differences when it comes to the quality. This particular version comes with nice quality joysticks, don't have a lot of resistance, but the ABXY are quite awful in my opinion. Then we're having the D-pad. The D-pad has like this very strange glossy touch to it, feels kind of weird. Sometimes you're going to get a configuration that you only need one dongle for two controllers, but every single controller has their own dongle. So we need to have both USB connections used for the controller connectivity. But okay, what you need to do is you hook it up, just plug and play. But there's one thing I just want to show you, and that's the SD card. There is a little bit of a bummer when it comes most of the times with these things. I just want to double check. Yep, it's the same story. We're going to get ourselves a 256GB with different sizes, but with these things, they're like unbranded and they're very low quality in my opinion. So I would always make a backup out of this. What we're going to get on powering it on, it will automatically boot up into EmuELEC. If this isn't the case, you're going to have a problem with your SD card. Oh, and another thing. What we're going to get is a really preset image. With this version, it is EmuELEC 4.6. So when you're looking at the EmuELEC that is on here, it looks absolutely amazing, where we have a very cool, nice theme. The theme they're using, let's double check it, is the theme that is set to Crystal. Nevertheless, it's a very cool, very nice looking theme itself. When you're going to look into the overall performance, I think it's going to be more of the same that we have seen many times before. And 64 will be problematic with some of the certain games like GoldenEye or another more demanding games. Same with PlayStation Portable and God of War. This is all the way up to, let's say, Dreamcast, that we have great support. But when you're looking at it, the interface absolutely great. So if you're going to look into a certain platform, and that is something I have a mixed feeling. If you have a lot of stuff installed on it, it's going to be a nightmare searching. So you can always adjust it pressing start. Here we can change out the interface. You can mess around with it if you want to. So that's pretty damn cool. Where some of the devices we had a problem that everything is fixed and you cannot do anything about it. But let's take a close look at the specifications. The version is 4.6, already mentioned before. The temperature of the system is 54 degrees, and that's a little bit of a bummer with these devices. There is no active cooling going on. Then we're having the CPU model, and that's the EmuLogic S95 X3 revision 4 or revision C that has a quad core on the inside. And when you're looking at the GPU, we're going to get ourselves the Mali G31. But coming back to the game list itself, here you can see everything has been changed out. This is basically, in my opinion, the best way to scroll through your games. Pressing select, what you can do is mess around here with the game list view style. Like for example, we're having the grid before, and this is cool, it looks absolutely amazing, but with a lot of games going to be a problem. So the thing I really love, you have also grid simple. It's another cool way to just check out your games. We're having the carousel. And you can see there are so many different ways you can just adjust your collection. That is pretty damn cool. The box arts have been added to this, and hearing so many different ways you can just play. Automatic is one of the ways you can go to, but I really hate it. So let's search with basic. It's kind of boring. but I think detailed was one of the things I really liked where we started when making this part of the video. So when it comes to EmuELEC, I think it's a very cool way to play, but also you can just mess around with it and get your personal preference when it comes to certain like displaying of your games. Let's start off with some Panasonic 3DO, and I really love this game Return Fire. With this new version of EmuELEC we have some very cool new additions to the system, but with the S93X3 we do have like some limitations. You can just hear that the game struggles. Next off, let's jump into the Thomas Wave, just to see how they configured everything. The game is playable to a certain point. It does stutter and a little bit here and there, but they did an amazing job. Next up, Dreamcast. There are not a lot of games that will have a lot of problems. Take consideration when it comes to Dead Alive or more demanding three-dimensional games. We do have some minor hiccups, but most of the games are still playable. But I just wanted to see what we're going to get with Dead Alive 2, so let's get into this Naomi systems. With a lot of stutters like this, in my opinion, it's unplayable. There we go. Nope, it's not getting better. Sometimes we have some of the emulators that we're actually having some decent emulation overall performance, but this is absolutely garbage. But don't get me wrong, if you're getting a two-dimensional game, that will run just fine. But let's move to the PlayStation Portable, and you can already see some minor glitching going on. The S95X3, nah, doesn't really run that great. Some games are playable. I think mostly the two-dimensional games are playable with the PlayStation Portable emulator. You can hear that it struggles big time. So when it comes to testing, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm always grabbing the games that struggle the most. For example, Cruise in the USA can have problems. That same goes for GoldenEye. But when it comes to N64, it's a hit or miss with these games. There's some minor things going on when it comes to the frames drops. But Cruise in the USA, that struggles a lot on different systems. That runs okay. But all the negativity in this video, I just want to close it up with something positive. And that is very simple, that a lot of games are running just fine on the device itself, all the way up to PlayStation without any problem. Of course, PlayStation 1 will be running on original resolution. And when it comes to Sega Saturn, it's going to be the same story that we've seen with many different systems. Two-dimensional stuff runs great, but when you're going to get in three-dimensional stuff, there we're going to have some troubles. Not for every single game, so again, it's going to be a hit or miss. So we're having that the same with Sega Dreamcast, or Sega Naomi, or that we're having on N64. And Sega Saturn is no different. But if you search through it, there are a couple of games that run okay. Unfortunately, Virtua Fighter does struggle. We just need to have more power to get this to run on native resolution. So what are we going to get inside the box itself? To be honest, nothing much. Where we have very cool fancy boxes nowadays, this is a very simple Android box. There is this tiny light or LED strip on top. That looks kind of cool, to be honest. I'm just going to leave it. This is the Wi-Fi antenna. And in here we're going to get the RAM modules, the storage capacity of the Android part. And of course we're going to get a tiny cooling element. So underneath we're going to get ourselves the S95X3 chip. Already double checked it when it comes to EmuELEC itself. But that's it, there is no cooling whatsoever. The other thing I really hate about these boxes, there is no way of getting some fresh air from the outside in the machine. So everything will be stuck in here. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this. This is a little bit I think it's a little bit of a bummer where we have so many cool boxes. But this thing, not only performance wise but also on the inside, it's nothing really special. I think there's a great word for this. Yep, that is. So in the end, if you're looking at a lot of these boxes, it's more of the same. It's more the question, what will it bring you when it comes to the hardware part, but also the cooling part. This is one of many boxes. This is just Androids. It looks cool with the LEDs on top, but that's the only thing I could say that is extra on it. Cooling is absolutely horrible. There is no way of getting some fresh air in, and there is no active cooling. In my opinion, when you're looking at the chipset, there are way better solutions. For example, the Superconsole X Max Plus series, where you're having active cooling and a very cool looking translucent case. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and it would be great to see you in the next video.